What's up, guys? This is Sensei. Today's video we're going to be going over the new Showdown Meta. We're going to be going over the changes made to Showdown, be going over the balance changes and the maps added back to Showdown to give you an overall picture of what the new Showdown Meta is going to look like and the brawlers that you should be playing in this new Showdown Meta. Very exciting stuff. Anyway, let's go over the changes made to Showdown. So first we have Elixir Boost being reduced from 200,000 increased damage to 100,000 increased damage. I very much like this change. The Elixir was always gave the person who had it way too much damage, and you know, they could if you had Elixir, you pretty much kill anyone you wanted to, even if you were a Poco, for crying out loud, and even if the guy you were attacking has like 10 power cubes. I remember the other day I was playing Surge. I just camped the whole game, had no power cubes, got an Elixir, and I was able to take out a bow with 7 just because of that, and I two-shotted him. That shouldn't happen, so very much agree with this one. Next, we have Angry Robo Modifier. Health and damage now scale according to the average brawler power level in the match. Now this one's kind of indifferent for me since, you know, I usually play at high level where everyone is pretty much maxed, but I think this is pretty good if you're playing at a low level, right? Because you're playing at a low level, you still have to deal with the same robot boss, and it's going to be a lot harder to take that out at a lower level. So I really much agree with this one. And again, with the next one, Power Cube Box Health now scales according to the average brawler power level in the match. Doesn't really affect me, but at those low trophy ranges, it just makes it easier, right? Because if you're a Power 1 Shelly, right, or whatever, like, you know, it's going to take you forever to open a box, right? So really I like that as well. All right, and that's all the changes made to Showdown. As far as the robot and the box scaling based on power level, I like it. It's not obviously not really going to be much, not going to affect me much, but it is. I think it's a good change overall. And then the Elixir Boost, really agree with that one. Anyway, let's just scroll down over to balance changes. All right, so a lot of the supercharge rates were supercharge rates from, you know, their super and the main attack were slightly changed because sometimes when you were trying to charge your super back, you would just have that one little tick, right? And then you would have to fire a whole other attack to charge your super back. So they fixed these small little things. I mean, they don't really affect much, but I might as well just go over them. So I'm only going to go over the brawlers that actually matter. So Carl's supercharge rate increased slightly from super attack. Again, it's a small change, so it's not like, oh my goodness, Carl's going to be so good. No, it's a small change. Colt supercharge rate decreased from main attack and increased from super attack. Yeah, it's just 50-50 kind of thing. Bo, now this one is actually kind of pretty good because his supercharge rate is increased slightly, but now he can charge his super from 3 attacks instead of 4, right? That slight change made it so he can charge his super from 3 attacks instead of 4, and you know, as you know, with Bo's second gadget, his super became really good and actually made him really good in Solo Showdown. And now he's able to charge that super a lot faster. So I think this is definitely very good, even though it's a slight change to interact. It makes a big difference. Now we get to the main meat and potatoes. Bull health increase from 4,900 to 5,000, and of course all these stats are from like Power 1. So at Power 10, I believe now he has 7,000 health. Supercharge rate increased slightly from both his main attack and his super. I mean, those are attack tick, but the main thing is the health, and that's gonna really help Bull in Solo Showdown. Ever since they nerfed Bull's health, Bull overall in the meta, I mean, not just Showdown, but overall in the meta, it just hasn't been doing that well. So glad to see that they buffed it back up, and you know, this is definitely gonna help Bull be good in this new Showdown meta, especially when we go over the new maps that they add, not the new maps, the old maps that they re-added back into the game. Darryl increased health from 4,800 to 5,000. This is going to help Darryl a lot, just like Bull. This is a bigger buff than Bull, and as you already know, Darryl is in the top 10 win rates, I believe, in Solo Showdown, so this is only going to help him become better. Alright, then we have El Primo's supercharge rate increased from 10 hits to 9 hits with his main attack, and from 5 hits to 4 hits with his super. So basically, El Primo is going to be able to get his super faster, which is also going to help him in Solo Showdown, because as you know from my El Primo video, El Primo's super is one of the best supers in the game, and it's very important to charge that when you're playing him in solo. Okay, then we have M's supercharge rate increased fully to 3 hits with main attack. Jean's supercharge rate increased slightly to full charge with 3 full hatch, which is Gonna help Jean in Solo Showdown just because Jean's Jean's second star power relies on getting her super. Jacky counter crush effective radius increased by 50%. Don't think it's gonna affect Jacky much since her her second star power hardy hard hat's gonna be way better. Max supercharge rate increased to fully charged from 3 full hits with main attack. This is gonna help Max a lot when getting her super. I mean, her super isn't that valuable in Solo Showdown, but it's still gonna help. Max is already pretty strong, so any buff will help Max. Mortis supercharge rate decreased from main attack and increased from super attack. This is actually a buff. They made a note that his supercharge decrease does not actually affect anything, which is probably just a quality of life thing to make it look more nicer, I suppose. For Nita, interesting changes to Nita. Supercharge rate increased from 7 hits to 6 hits, and from the bear from 12 to 10. So basically, Nita's gonna be able to get her super faster. But they also added a 1 second delay to her gadget, and they also increased it to 2 to 3. And after encountering Nita's a bit, they kind of did an M's on this one. I think 1 second is way too much, but anyway. Rosa supercharge rate increased to fully charged from 3 full hits with main attack. This is also going to be a buff to Rosa as well. And as a, you might guys want to start thinking. You're looking at all these tanks that are getting buffed. You just might want to start thinking about what the Showdown meta is going to look like. As we keep seeing these tanks getting buffed. Just a little hint for later. Shelly increased health from 3,600 to 3,800, and also, her supercharge rate increased to fully charged from 2 hits from main attack and decreased from their super. Just small changes, but the main thing is the health, which is what Shelly really needed. Shelly was struggling in Solo Showdown. This is definitely going to help her a lot. Spike increased main attack damage from 520 to 560, and the supercharge rate increased from the super attack. Right, this is also going to make Spike a lot better in Solo Showdown as well. Terra supercharge rate increased slightly to fully charged from 4 full hits. Again, just slight changes, but it's going to help Terra. Poco tuning fork healing decreased from 500 to 400 just to make Poco slightly less viable. Now we finally have a big balance change, a big nerf. Surge to the max projectile split no longer happens when reaching the max distance, only when hitting enemies or walls. This is going to mean that Surge's viability in Solo Showdown is going to be a lot less because Surge really depended on the to the max star power. That is what made him overpowered. But now that that's nerfed, I don't think Surge is going to be that good. Gale's spring ejector gadget doesn't have quite as much ejection power. I don't think, for my personal experience, you didn't really use Gale's gadget that much because most of the time it's not really a wise idea to just jump into nowhere where you don't know where you're jumping to. But yeah, it is a nerf. Now we have a big one that is going to really shake the Showdown meta. Extra life for 8-Bit is replaced with a new star power plugged in, which gives 8-Bit a speed boost when he is near his damage booster. This is a big nerf to 8-Bit in Solo Showdown. 8-Bit, I can fully say this, is no longer the #1 Solo Showdown brawler. I do think he's still viable because a lot of times when you're playing Solo Showdown, you don't use it, but it means you're not going to be able to play 8-Bit on those more risky maps. You're not going to play him on those close range maps, those energy drink maps, and etc. You're really only going to be able to play 8-Bit on those longer range maps, and you have to play with your life a lot more. Okay, you have to be more careful since you only have 1 life now. So I'm not going to say he's out of the Showdown meta, but definitely not #1 anymore. Next we have Gale's second wind is now replaced with a new star power, Freezing Snow, which gives a slowing effect upon hit, and I actually think this star power is going to be better than his first one. It might even make him better in Solo Showdown. We'll see. Okay, Pam's healing turret visual area has been adjusted to match the effective. So this is just kind of a glitch where you could heal outside of the radius. So it's just making the radius more accurate. And yeah, so a slight nerf to the radius of the pulse modulator gadget, but not really much to touch Pam. Pam, I think, will definitely be the #1 Solo Showdown brawler after this. All right, and then we have a bunch of bug fixes. Nothing to really note there. Now let's go over the new maps, and then I'll give you an overall picture of the new Showdown meta and what to expect. Alright, so let's just go ahead and take a look at the new maps here. Okay, so taking a look, we have Skull Creek being added back into the game. Skull Creek, as you know, one of the best tank maps in the game, so really happy to see that. We also have Scorched Stone being added back into the game. Scorched Stone, pretty good old map, not really one of my favorites, but you know, really happy to see this one. Definitely better than some of the maps we had in the old meta. Rockwall Brawl, yes. If you've seen my video where I talked about 3 old maps potentially being added back in the game, Rockwall Brawl is one of them, and I explained how much I love it. Another great tank map, and yeah, I love that. Double Trouble, yes. I also love this. Also a pretty decent tank map as well. And also Stormy Plains, which is one of my favorite maps of all time, being added back in the game. Also one of the best tank maps. So we got 3 solid tank maps back into the game, and Double Trouble, which is pretty decent for tanks, at least from when I remember playing it. I pushed I pushed Shelly there. So, and obviously Scorched Stone, I really love this. And also looks like they took out Cavern Churn and replaced Cavern Churn with the reverse Cavern Churn. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. I mean, I personally would prefer Cavern Churn over reverse Cavern Churn, but I mean, they're giving bows a map, so I guess that's good. That's all I really got to say about that. Yeah, so let's just talk about the Showdown meta and what I think is going to be there. So, obviously, 8-bit no longer going to be the #1 Showdown brawler. Pam will definitely going to take that spot. But also with all these buffs to tanks, right? We got Bull health being buffed. We got Darryl's health being buffed. I think with all these maps, all these tank maps being added to the game, I think we have a tank meta in Solo Showdown. I think Frank, all the tanks. I think Frank, you could throw in bibi, Frank, Jacky, even Shelly with her buff. Bull, you know, all these tanks, they're going to be rising up, okay? I think Darryl might even be top 5. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of tanks hit the top 10. Frank definitely going to be, like I said, all these tanks going to be rising up in win rates with these tank maps, so we're definitely going to be seeing a tank meta. And of course, with a tank meta, that means brawlers that counter tanks are also going to be good, so B's going to be doing good. Spike's going to be doing good. Even M's, who's one of the worst brawlers in Solo Showdown, even might be seeing a rise in win rates as well. But this also means with all these tank maps that all the long-range brawlers are going to suffer. So Brock is going to suffer, Nanny is going to suffer. These types of brawlers are going to suffer because they don't deal with tanks. Mr. P definitely going to suffer. So these long-range brawlers that don't really deal well with tanks are going to suffer. However, if you're going to push the long-range brawler, we still have 2,000 lakes. And, let's see. Scorched Stone, you could maybe run some ranged options on Scorched Stone. Really depends on the maps that they decide to add the meteor modifier on. But, not really a lot of ranged maps like there was in the previous meta. So, very interesting. You know, the range meta is gone. So, if you're planning to run Nanny, like I said, Nanny, Brock, these options aren't going to be that good anymore. Instead, you're going to be wanting to running tanks. Of course, it's going to take time to see how the meta plays out, but yeah, I think Pam's going to be #1, and then Max. Nothing really hurt Max here. So we got Max, we got Carl, we got B, and then you got to make room for the tanks. Jean's not going to be as good anymore because they got rid of the range map. So Jean might even fall off the top 10. Okay, you're gonna make room for the tanks. The tanks are gonna come in, bro. We got Darryl with his health buff gonna be up there. Gonna Bull, Rosa, like I said, all these tanks. So yeah, look forward to a tank meta if you're a fan of Solo Showdown. But anyways, that's gonna do it, guys. Let me know your thoughts of this new Showdown meta. Make sure to give me a like, comment, subscribe, and share. And thank you guys, and peace.